Hi, Dr. Siegel. This is Nancy Melashenko, and I am doing my podcast for week 1 about role-playing, but just wanted to take a few minutes here to go over some of the things that I have learned this month. In taking an overview here, role-playing, it starts out in our early childhood grades and does real well there and pretty much starts eliminating itself by the high school years. And there are a lot of reasons for that, and I think if I'm a high school teacher I can understand those reasons pretty well. However, I think that even if you're a high school teacher and you don't have much confidence in leaving yourself that vulnerable to students for role-playing efforts, that you might need to look for an option. And I had been trying to bring an interview to you of somebody here in the area that I found. And this is Kay Gonzalez. She is from the Barony of Darkwater. She is part of a medieval group that is very active here in this area, and the Barony of Darkwater. And she just, we just never could connect on our time, so she and her group of several of the people in her group go around to schools and to other organizations and do reenactments and do role play about a variety of things in medieval times. So that's an extremely helpful and useful volunteer way that you can find role play in the community area. And if teachers can't find somebody who can come in and do role play, if they're just not that comfortable with doing it themselves, if they do need to learn how to make it available to their students. I firmly believe that. And of course, setting up a drama corner for elementary kids, but for secondary to have perhaps even a moving cart that has props on it, so students are able to have access to the possibility of doing that. That's so important, because it's more than just dressing up. And I hadn't really focused on this until taking this class this month, but really what we're doing with role playing is we're saying, whose voice are we listening to? What's the heart? What's the situation? What are the events that need to be told? What needs to be captured in a message? There are different styles of role playing, and it would be helpful for teachers to really include some of that in some of their discussions with their students, and analyze different styles. Satire, which has been around, of course, ever since people have been around, but monologues, dialogues. Take excerpts of things from what we have on TV. Billy Crystal on Saturday Night Live did some wonderful things. Whoopi Goldberg, very creative role play that she has done in some of her shows that would be suitable for students. And of course, we have reenactments and history museums and docents that are all around us, ready to give this voice from the past, or from at least maybe another place that we're not going to be able to visit, to bring that to our reality. But above all, I've identified 3 points that I think that are perhaps my culminating thoughts for role play for this month. And the first item is that it needs to start with research, and that there needs to be active listening that goes on with the research. What is it that is trying to be said, and what is truthful and accurate, and not just somebody else's spin that has been put on it. And the second thing, that in role play, how much is me, and how much is the voice of the person I'm playing. And when we ask students to role play, I think it would be important that we always provide a debriefing opportunity at the end of the role play. So it helps a student to reconnect back into their present reality and with their sense of self, and to keep their characters in perspective. And the third thing is that to use the skills that the students have developed, to maybe put together a desire for what they have for a life occupation, to role play a future occupation or a life goal, or on the other side of that, to role play the detriments of maybe some negative activities. So as far as what I have learned beyond coming up with those 3 points, for my own personal growth and observation on role-playing, I'm certain I really hadn't given it much thought, obviously, until this point, where and really in looking at the gaming all of this month, I have just had this growing awareness of how many voices are speaking to us, and CGI, the technology that speaks to us through the ATM, the phone messages that come to us electronically. Those are roles, if you will, that that are impersonating a human spirit of some sort. But really, what I'm seeing so much more of is our need to be able to give some background and perspective on how we can best maximize and optimize roles that, not only what we might be able to do, but what's coming into us. And to make sure that we have, some selective framework for all of that, both coming and going. And I think that I had just gone on a superficial awareness of that until this month. So I'm glad for the opportunity to be able to take a closer look at it, and I do believe I've gained a great deal of perspective on it. So thanks for the opportunity. See you on the next podcast.